Before I get into this video, I just want to say that this video is fair use, so all the media used in this video is for criticism, review in a transformative way. All the information I present is public information and everything else is a legend, a joke, or just my opinion. The first thing that I want to talk about is Australia's Married at First Sight, because there was an article published about the biphobia problem that Australian reality TV has. In the article, it reads, in the episode, Liam is asked by fellow Married at First Sight castmates about his dating non-negotiables at his wedding to his TV bride, Georgia Fairweather. When he explains that he doesn't have any, Beck Zamek asks, what happens if they don't swing your way? Is that a non-negotiable? While there is a chance the question came to Beck randomly, there is also a highly likely chance it was fed to her by one of the show's producers. What followed Beck's loaded question was Liam being forced to come out at his wedding in front of his new wife to a group of complete strangers. Now, I watched only a few minutes of it, and what I could tell from it was that he was obviously incredibly uncomfortable. People made a big ass deal about this, to the point where, like, you know that they're not tolerant of queer people whatsoever. I mean, they're also just, like, very heteronormative comments made, bordering on, like, just straight up being homophobic. And what I find interesting is how much he was demonized for this and, like, presented as, like, just, like, homosexual, and therefore he was, like, lying to his wife, when in reality he was, like, probably fine with it. Not sure if y'all have heard, but, like, bi people can like more than one gender. In the following episode, which also aired this week, Liam and Georgia participated in the honesty box exercise, which had already been completed by the group's OG couples. As a part of this exercise, the couple were asked to share how many people they'd each slept with, a question that no other couple on the show had previously been shown answering, leaving the task feeling like another excuse to make Liam's bisexuality a plot point, as Georgia asks Liam to reveal how many of the people he's had sex with were men. While she for the most part reacted positively to his sexuality and coming out, the reactions from viewers were mixed. Some praised Married at First Sight for casting its first bisexual man, others called out the show for its uncomfortable step up, but this is not the first time an Australian reality TV show has used a bisexual contestants coming out as fodder for drama. Punky tweeted out saying, Married at First Sight producers orchestrating Liam being outed for the purpose of drama is actually disgusting and damaging. I just think it's like ridiculous and completely insane that people are actually praising this show for like hiring its first like bi man. Simply letting a bi man on the show is not something to flip your shit over. It's not even the bare minimum. Like, avoiding or banning certain sexualities from being on your show is just like homophobic. Not doing so and just like letting one slip through is like, it's not the bar that we're trying to reach. That's like below average. And even if for some fucking reason letting him on the show was something to congratulate, y'all still outed him for the sake of drama. You made bisexuality something that was debatable and often argued against. There should be criticism not only towards the show but also the people on it for just being shitheads. The next thing I want to talk about is Dan from Game Grumps, because there have been quite a few posts about like exposing him for being like a predator, and like the big post that everyone found out about had this video included which they described as proof. It was named video evidence by a lot of people, and in this video Dan is like talking about like how nice his resort is wherever he's staying, and that there's a hot tub, and that he like wishes to fuck the person in the hot tub, whoever he's sending it to.
So I just got to my room at the resort in Mexico. Girl, look at this jacuzzi tub. Oh, it's got water jets that shoot out of the seats. They got fucking seats. Oh man, 2 seats in fact. Wish you were here to take up that other one and then crawl onto the first one so we could fuck in this. Anyway. And
there was also a screenshot showing the conversation after the video was sent, where the girl says, my god, I've never seen something so beautiful and fancy, I really wish I was there too. And Dan responds, if you feel comfortable with the idea, you should send me a little video saying that you'd like to fuck me in that tub, that would do things for me, haha. So Dan is the co-owner of Game Grumps, a gaming YouTube channel that has done several collabs with Mark in the past, and as far as I can tell, there's something going on about him being a groomer, but I'm not completely sure. How many minors have stepped up? Not denying anything, just wondering how strong the case is. I obviously don't want to believe it immediately because the channel was awesome. The way it is presented is extremely misleading. He slept with a 22-year-old, somebody of age, but because that 22-year-old happened to be a fan a few years ago, people are saying he groomed them. It's all bullshit. He literally did groom her. Waiting until she's an adult to fuck her is indeed grooming. There is no proof nor context of his intentions being to fuck her when she was 17 though. They only really started talking to each other when she was 18. Is having consenting sex with a 22-year-old not okay and automatically means she was manipulated just because she was a fan of his then? They were talking while she was a minor. If he waited to fuck her when she became an adult, that's grooming. He talked to her whilst she was underage, therefore it's grooming. Whether it was consensual or not. He still waited for her to become an adult, and that is disgusting. If he wanted to wait until she was of age to have sex with her, why wait until she was 22? Why not do it as soon as she turned 18? Do you realize how fucking disgusting that is? Talking and flirting with a minor, and then as soon as she turns 18, you fuck her and ghost her? That's so disgusting. Get out of here. Is there proof he flirted with her before she turned 18? And then they ask for proof so that they could have like the full picture and know what's going on, and they just say to like, no, like, Twitter has all the evidence you need. And that sounds like hella sus, and I agree with the last person that responded saying, okay, then link some credible tweets please, because right now it's all jumbled with people yelling. This isn't the full situation, but like as I get more into it, you will see that it's a lot of like he said, she said kind of stuff. So I'm not going to take sides. However, I am going to say that this person who is arguing that he is like gross and a groomer and a like predator has a very fucking weak case. Grooming is not simply talking to somebody before they turned 18 and then having sex with them. That's not what grooming is. It is very like specific, and it is very manipulative. You can be friends with somebody older than you before you turned 18 and then form a more intimate and sexual connection after you turn 18. And I will get more into that in a bit with like other stuff. So you're really going to be out here being like, no, he's a piece of shit, but I'm not going to support my argument with any evidence that proves he is a piece of shit. And also he groomed her, but I'm not going to educate myself on what grooming actually is. Somebody on Reddit said this post is extremely misleading. OP claims this is proof that Dan sexted, slipped, and ghosted a young fan. However, if we take into account the date in which the girl turned 18, October 2013, and we compare it with the only screenshot that shows Dan talking about sexual stuff with her, we can see that she was 22 at the time, so she was at least 22 when she was ghosted. Although the live show talked about in the post could have totally happened years later, but surprise, the OP did not clarify that. Wonder why? Might be because OP wants to make the time frame between the events look as worse as possible for Dan, since in the last paragraph the OP makes the time frame between Dan contacting her and her turning 18 years as seen in the as years went by, when in reality it was less than a fucking month. They contacted Dan in September 2013 and turned 18 in October of that year. I'm not saying Dan didn't groom kids. I'm not saying this isn't one of his victims. I'm just saying this post is full of crap. And if the post is full of crap, then you can start questioning some important details. For example, there is literally zero proof that this is Dan at all. And the proof that was shown of the person being groomed was a text conversation where they were really just having a friendly conversation. I'm not going to read it out because it's like there's literally no substance to it. I'm willing to bet this is all fake since I haven't seen any real evidence. That and it's freaking Dan, the sweetest guy you would ever probably meet. I mean, the guy didn't even lose his virginity until I think 22 because he wanted to do it with somebody he truly loved. I honestly agree he's such a sweet dude, and I haven't seen any real evidence either. I think this particular argument is incredibly weak because not only do you like probably not actually fucking know the guy, but like it's usually those kind of guys that commit these kind of crimes. Stick to the evidence, not like how much you personally know this guy that you've never met and only have ever interacted with, not even interacted with, but seen over the internet. There's also discussion about a play that Katie wrote. Katie is one of Dan's ex-girlfriends. In this play, there's a man called John who has a lot of overlapping characteristics with Dan, including the fact that he sleeps with Katie's girlfriend, resulting in Katie and the girlfriend opening their relationship and then embarking on a relationship together, saying they were in love. He treats both Katie and the girlfriend like shit, but to be fair, Katie is also an emotionally manipulative person. He has a threesome with Katie's girlfriend and another woman, and then I swear the dialogue hints that something ugly happened in the threesome. Something enough to cause Katie's girlfriend to want to self-harm. The Katie's girlfriend character actually says that she thinks there's something wrong with John. He told Katie he wanted to have a forgy with her, them and 3 other women, which they'd pass back and forth without touching each other. During the course of this conversation, John got a boner and praised Katie for allowing him to share his deepest fantasies with her. He paid Katie $200 to change the sheets after having sex with another woman before fucking Katie's girlfriend in the same bed, which she later said felt like an enabling action to him abusing the 20-year-olds he was sleeping with. Regularly texted women 20 years his junior to hook up with them. Dan was 23 at the time, which would mean he was hooking up with 17, 18-year-olds. So I'm going with the estimation of them being in their early 20s or late teens, if this is about him. Reminder that Dan's current serious girlfriend is 17 years his junior. Then ghosted them when they got too emotionally involved. Ghosting was a major problem with John, who had a tendency to discard people like trash. John sends funny memes to the woman he's going out with to make them feel special, the exact same meme to every single one of them. John is also stunned that Katie likes prog rock and is a cool girl, and he was juggling at least 4 other women along with Katie's girlfriend, all scattered across the country, and blatantly cheated on her. And the Reddit post also said that Katie has since deleted the video of like the play and also all of her social media. In another Reddit post, somebody says, I'm not OP, but I can share my experiences with Dan. I was actually involved with both Katie and Dan at overlapping points, so that girlfriend character is partially based on me. However, obviously Katie's play is a work of fiction and artistic license was taken. This all happened about 3 years ago, so I can't speak to anything since then. I met Dan at 19 when he was 35, and we first slept together when I was 21 when he was 37. Both of these times were at a convention, so yes, I was obviously a huge fan of him. I was a big enough fan to get a fan-related tattoo before we slept together, which he did know about and still thought it was a good idea to sleep with me, which, okay. He was incredibly emotionally abusive and gaslit me constantly. Though I was under no illusion that we were in a relationship, he told me he loved me and said it often, and regularly told me he wished we could be together and that if we lived closer, I would absolutely be his girlfriend. Days later, I would be admonished for being too clingy because he wasn't my boyfriend. It sometimes felt like the person I saw in person and the person I texted were two different people. He gave me such emotional whiplash. He took advantage of the fact that I am bisexual and pointedly introduced me to other bisexual women he was sleeping with, all in their early 20s. When I called him out on very obviously trying to set up threesomes or group sex, he would get offended and say that he just thought we would be good friends. The other girls I met were seriously brainwashed by him, even worse than I was. One of them was polyamorous and genuinely believed Dan to be her partner. When I told them this, he denied it and said they were just friends, but seemed to be in no hurry to correct her delusion. Well, you know how she is. She's a spaz. I know he also tried to proposition Katie to have group sex with him. He would conveniently forget that she was gay several times, and she had to remind him over and over. I feel like he saw women love women as toys for him to use sexually rather than actual people with needs and feelings. He purposely preyed on damaged girls. I was struggling with an eating disorder during the time we were together, and all of the girls I met or heard of through him were incredibly fucked up with their own personal traumas. I simply can't believe this to be a coincidence. He liked taking broken girls and being able to feel like their hero or savior. He eventually ended things with me after I point blank asked if we would ever be monogamous, and he said things needed to be over because there's just too big of an age difference. His current girlfriend is younger than me. Hi. A million other tiny things that aren't worth their own individual bullet points. Any girl who was down for casual yet romantic, which was weird, sex was cool. Any girl who displayed any sort of needs or had issues with being set up for group sex was clingy, crazy, needy, or a spaz. He would need to drop casual hints that I should leave his hotel room after we had sex, despite him also saying he loved me. And then if I point blank said, "So do you want me to leave?" he would vehemently deny it. I told him I had an eating disorder, and he went on this long emotional soliloquy about how much it meant that I trusted him enough to tell him that. Then he forgot about it, and when it came up again, he swore up and down I never told him. He tried to give me $10,000 to send me to a weird celebrity therapy program, etc, etc. I mainly just want to share my own experiences to warn other young women who are fans of this guy. He knew that I was a huge fan in a vulnerable position and took advantage of the power dynamics to get what he wanted. Obviously, I know that he's in a relationship now, but I have no idea if there are any exceptions or if he's still seeing women behind Ashley's back. I just don't want other women to get blinded by the charisma and his projected great guy image and end up getting hurt like I did. I had to go to fucking EMDR PTSD treatments to get over the shit this guy put me through.
I feel like this piece of text is the most convincing to make me believe that Dan was a bad person in any kind of way, but this doesn't necessarily show that he was a groomer, but he did take advantage of power dynamics because he was taking advantage of fans and also using women who liked other women to his sexual advantage.
Especially considering that the woman from the original post came out and said, "I never said that he groomed me. Others took the opinion that he did, but I made sure to make it clear that I just friended him while I was 17. Then I was really chuffed because he called me beautiful and wanted to hug me. I didn't say that was grooming. Some other people have, despite me saying I don't think so. But yeah, when I met him, he did say the other bit about the fact that people might judge him for talking to a 17-year-old.
He has come out and say that these allegations are false and that any sexual interactions that took place with the fan in question occurred when she was of age and that any predatory behavior outlined in the Reddit post were untrue. Saying, "I stand by the fact that any interactions that took place in a sexual nature with the person in question were done so when she was 22 years old and we were both consenting adults. To claim I engaged in any predatory behavior is simply untrue. I have made mistakes in the past and I apologize if my actions or words ever made anyone upset. But those mistakes were not ill-intentioned, exploitative, or illegal in any capacity." Obviously they were exploitative, but alright. But obviously he's going to deny it because there's like no proof that he did anything, so regardless of whether or not he did, he's going to say that he didn't.
The last thing that I want to talk about is the Twitter feud between Trisha Paytas and Nikita Dragon after Def Noodles tweeted out saying that Nikita's reality TV show is back and that she posted on her Instagram saying, "Cancel me as many times as you want, my show is still running." And then Trisha Paytas quote tweeted that saying on Snapchat. Because if you have a reality show on Snapchat, do you really have a show? Nikita responded to that saying, "Trisha, haven't you done enough to the trans community? There's no need to downplay mine or any other trans woman's accomplishments. Happy Trans Day of Visibility." Which,
what the fuck?
this had nothing to do with you being trans. If you want to talk about the oppression of LGBTQ people, how about we talk about your biphobia, Miss Girl? How about the fact that not only are you biphobic, but you use that to victimize yourself and your transhood, being all like, "I hate bi men and I can't date them because I'm trans and it gives me dysphoria." No, bitch, you're just biphobic, sit the fuck down. But Trisha Paytas also ignored that entire thing of being trans, because I'm pretty sure we all know why. It's because why the fuck would you bring up being trans that has nothing to do with you being trans? So Trisha Paytas ignored that and said, Nikita loves her pedophiles, trash supporting trash. And she included pictures of Nikita and the Lopez brothers as well as Nikita and James Charles. Dustin Daly also responded to Nikita saying, I love you Nikita, but let's not act like you don't change your skin tone every other week. You're just as problematic. Nikita also tweeted out an old YouTube video with Trisha Paytas, Trevi Moran and Shane Dawson. And Trisha and Shane were obviously like much older, and this was when Trevi was about 17-ish, 16 maybe. And like in the video, it was like he was like twerking all over them, and there was like that kind of vibe of, you know, the old like Shane Dawson video kind of vibe. Ethan Klein stepped in saying, I'm sure she regrets making that video that Shane arranged. As I recall, she is not still friends with Shane. Stay mad and say hi to James for me. Nikita said, say hi to your brother-in-law for me. Please make sure he's okay and far away from Trisha Paytas. Ethan said, you are so boring. He's fine and happy as I previously stated. You, on the other hand, will be staying mad. Nikita said, hopefully your wife feels the same way about the treatment of her brother by your little friend. Anything for views, I guess. Just make sure you pick a cute pic of me when you talk about me on your podcast. Ethan said cute enough, with again pictures of her with James Charles and her with the Lopez brothers.
I just find it a little bit funny how she's trying to take a dig at their podcast the same way that they took a dig at her show, when in reality their podcast is thriving and doing so much better than like her crusty dusty dating show in which nobody ever likes her. I'm not a big fan of the Feminist podcast because I can't be fucked with them twos, but I mean it's pretty objective to say that like they're doing better than she is with her crusty dusty show.
Now obviously they talked about it on the podcast. Trisha said that she ended up booking her because she felt very like the arguments that Nikita was making was always like from her past, like, oh, you hurt the trans community in your past, oh, you supported Shane in your past, and all that kind of stuff. And it was also things that Trisha had like talked about and apologized for. I personally don't like when she like brings that up, because like the whole like I've apologized for it, like first of all where, second of all okay, like that excuses it somehow, but like I'm still on her side for this argument because what the fuck was Nikita doing? And she said that the points that she made against Nikita were actually like relevant. For example, she's still friends with predators, she's still doing blackface, her show's on fucking Snapchat, and these are also things that she hasn't like actually addressed or apologized for. I just think the world will be a little bit better if Nikita Dragon realized that she's not hot shit. If she just realized that she actually doesn't deserve a show regardless of whether or not it's on Snapchat. That she doesn't deserve to have a dating life if she's going to be biphobic. Being discriminatory against your own community is so embarrassing.
Are you not ashamed of yourself? Are you not embarrassed? This is really embarrassing.
So that is all I have for you guys today. If you liked this video, if you liked me, make sure to like and subscribe. If you didn't like me, make sure to get in contact with my teachers because of it you'll have a lot in common. Make sure to stay safe and stay hydrated.